Hi students, welcome back to the Google Classroom of Plus One Statistics revision videos. Today we will focus on the 1-mark questions. First chapter introduction. True or false? Statistics can only deal with quantitative data. Is it true or false? Yes, it is false. Statistics deals with both quantitative as well as qualitative data. Then next one, statistics solves economic problems. Is it true or false? Yes, it is true. Statistics act as tool in the hands of economists that enables them to understand and evaluate an economic problem. Then next one, statistics is of no use to economics without data. Is it true or false? It is true. Data enable economists to present economic facts in a precise and concise form. Then under exclusive method, which one is correct? Which option is correct? The upper class limit of a class is excluded in the class interval. The upper class limit of a class is included in the class interval. The lower class limit of a class is excluded in the class interval. The lower class limit of a class is included in the class interval. The option A is correct. The upper class limit of a class is excluded in the class interval. A series in which upper limit of one class becomes the lower limit of the succeeding class interval, it is called exclusive series. Then range is the difference between the largest and smallest observations, difference between the smallest and largest observation, average of largest and smallest observation, ratio of the largest to the smallest observation. Option A is correct. Range is the difference between the largest and the smallest observation. Then organization of data. The class midpoint is equal to the average of the upper class limit and the lower class limit, the product of upper class limit and the lower class limit, the ratio of upper class limit and the lower class limit, and none of the above. The answer is A. The class midpoint is equal to the average of upper class limit and the lower class limit. So we have to add this upper class limit and lower class limit and divide it by 2. Okay. The frequency distribution of two variables is known as univariate distribution, bivariate distribution, multivariate distribution, none of the above. Which one is correct? Option B is correct. The frequency distribution of two variables is known as bivariate distribution. Okay. Then statistical calculations in classified data are based on the actual values of observations, the upper class limits, the lower class limits, the class midpoints. Option D is correct. The statistical calculations in classified data are based on the class midpoints. Then next one, data represented through arithmetic line graph help in understanding long-term trend, cyclicity in data, seasonality in data, all the above. The data represented through arithmetic line graph or time series graph helps in understanding the long-term trend and periodicity. So option 1 is correct. Next one, width of the bars in a bar diagram need not be equal. Comment the statement, true or false. The above statement is false as all the bars in a bar diagram need to be equal width. So this statement is false. Then next one, width of rectangles in a histogram should essentially be equal. True or false? The above statement is false because the width of all rectangles in a histogram may or may not be equal. Okay. Bar diagram need to be equal width. Then what about the histogram? May or may not be equal. Then next one, histogram can only be formed with continuous classification of data. Yes, this statement is correct. This histogram can only be formed with the continuous classification of data. So the statement is correct. Then next one, histogram and column diagram are the same method of presentation of data. The statement is false. This is because the histogram and column diagram are different method of presentation. Then mode of a frequency distribution can be known graphically with the help of a histogram. Is it true or false? The statement is true. We can determine mode graphically by presenting the data in the form of histogram. Then next one, from the presentation of data, bar diagram is a one-dimensional diagram, two-dimensional diagram, diagram with no dimension, none of the above. The answer is bar diagrams are one-dimensional diagrams. Bar diagrams are one-dimensional diagrams. Okay. Then data represented through a histogram can help in finding graphically which one, mean, mode, median, all of the above. Graphically, we already discussed the same question in another manner. Graphically, mode can be determined by presenting the data in the form of histogram. Graphically, mode can be determined by presenting the data in the form of histogram. Then OGs can be helpful in locating graphically mode, median, mean, none of the above. Graphically, median can be determined by the intersection point of less than ogive and more than ogive, and this statement is correct in the case of median. Okay, OGs can be helpful in locating graphically the median. The next one, which average is affected most by the presence of extreme items? Which average is affected most by the presence of extreme items? Median, mode, arithmetic mean, none of the above. So, arithmetic mean is the most affected by the presence of extreme items. Okay, we have to calculate the average and divide it by the number. So, arithmetic mean is the most affected by the presence of extreme items. Then next one, the algebraic sum of deviation of a set of n values from AM is n, 0, 1 and none of the above. The answer is 0. Okay, the algebraic sum of deviation of a set of n values from AM, arithmetic mean is 0. Then next one, comment the statement are true or false. Okay, the sum of deviations of items from median is 0. The answer is false. Sum of deviations of items from median is 0, false. Then an average alone is not enough to compare series. Answer is true. An average is not enough to compare the series. Then arithmetic mean is a positional value. False. Arithmetic mean is a positional value. False. Okay. Arithmetic mean is a positional value. This statement is false. Then upper quartile is the lowest value of the top 25 items. Yes, it is true. Upper quartile means top 25% of items. Then the median is unduly affected by extreme observations. The median is not affected by the extreme observations. Okay. The next one, the most suitable average for qualitative measurement is median. The most suitable average for qualitative measurement is median. Okay, this is because median divides the series into two equal parts. The item having the highest weight in consumer price index for industrial workers is food. Then next one, in general, inflation is calculated by using which index? Wholesale price index, consumer price index, producer's price index. Answer, inflation is calculated by using wholesale price index. An index number which accounts for the relative importance of the items is known as weighted index, simple aggregative index, simple average of relatives. The answer is weighted index. Once more, an index number which accounts for the relative importance of the item is known as weighted index. Then In most of the weighted index numbers, the weight pertains to which year? Base year, current year, both base and current year. In most of the weighted index numbers, the weight pertains to the current year. Okay. Then the impact of change in the price of a commodity with little weight in the index will be small. The impact of change in the price of a commodity with little weight in the index will be small. A consumer price index measures changes in retail prices, wholesale prices, producers' prices. The consumer price index measures changes in retail prices. Consumer price index measures changes in retail prices. So children, all these are very important 1-mark questions. Read your textbook very well and prepare well for your exam. All the best. Thank you.